This is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group coming to you with agent training number 19, working with sellers. Now, we've already talked about what it's like to work with buyers, and there's definitely a niche for that. But I believe that working with sellers is the foundation of a successful real estate business. Why? Because listers control the market. If you have the inventory, other people have to come to you. So whenever you list a property, the people that are looking to buy have to come to you to find it. When you're working with buyers, you're typically looking at inventory that someone else has, but when you're the lister, everybody has to look at your inventory. Now, listings are the bread and butter of our real estate team because when we have a supply of listings, we focus on all the things that we can control. We can implement a marketing plan. We can put up for sale signs. We can do open houses. You have a lot of control when you have the listing. Most importantly, other agents have to come to you. Now, if you're good at this and you understand the marketing side of having listings, then you also are going to be driving buyers to you. Because if your listing is in a good area and it's got schools around and transportation's good and shopping's not too far and the house is in good condition, buyers will be attracted to that house. You may even find yourself in a situation with multiple buyers, which is great. So, being a lister means that you can last in the business. But it's a skill set because listing property consecutively, regularly, and selling it, staying on pace, is a skill. And if you're going to work with sellers, you have to master the skills. It's sales. Basically, you're going to go in there, you've got a ton of competition, every other realtor is your competitor, and you're going to go in there and talk to a seller and convince them that you're the best option for their house. It's sales. So you have to understand the selling process. You have to understand the mentality of the owners, and you have to know how to answer their objections. Now, people that develop this skill find that their real estate career takes a whole new twist. Because once you have a book of listings and people are constantly calling you to make appointments and things, your focus can be on just marketing those listings and looking for new ones. Okay, you don't necessarily have to be looking for buyers. You market and look for new listings. Listing agents control the marketplace. You have all the agents with buyers who will be looking at your inventory. You also get the opportunity to do a double flip, meaning that you represent the seller and the buyer. Now, what happens in that situation with us, there's one of two ways you could do it. You could have another agent represent the buyer, and then you guys split that separate commission. You get a referral fee, let's say. Or you can do it yourself as a dual agent. I don't recommend that, and this is just my own personal opinion, because when you are a dual agent, basically the other people involved in this situation think that they have your loyalty and they don't. Now, the reason they don't have your loyalty is because you cannot be loyal to two people who both are benefiting from the same transaction. This is why, as an attorney, you usually have one client. You represent the defendant or you represent the plaintiff, the person making the claim. Typically, when you go to see a doctor, you don't have two specialists that are both giving you advice because the advice they give you may be different. So you have a doctor who may use other doctors for certain parts of your health care, but when it comes to their area of expertise, they don't share that with someone else. And so it's the same thing with real estate. If you have a listing agreement, you represent the seller. You have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to the seller. And part of that means that there are things the seller is going to share with you that you are not going to share with other people. Case in point, your seller may have a motivation that if you share that with other people, it could cause them to come in and lowball the offer. Maybe your seller is selling the house because they're having marital issues and they don't know if they're going to be divorcing, but they want to go ahead on and they've agreed that they're going to sell the house anyway now while they're still together. You don't want to be sharing that with other people. So if you are representing both parties and that's your goal is I've got to be true to both of them, then that means everything I do learn about the seller, I need to share with the buyer. Everything I learn about the buyer, I need to share with the seller. So it's a much cleaner transaction if you let someone else handle the buying side so you can stay 100% loyal to the seller. Now, another thing that helps once you list is that your sign in that neighborhood gives you additional exposure. It gives you a right to go into the neighborhood and talk about the fact that hey, my name is Jeff Davis. I'm with the Davis Group, and we just listed a house at 123 Main Street, one of your neighbors and stuff. And so I'm just introducing myself and letting people know that I'm here. See if maybe you might want a free market analysis of your property. It gives you the ability to do that because you're in the neighborhood. People that own the house also, whenever they have family and friends coming by, they're going to see your name on that lawn. See, these are all things that help you in the marketing of this property. You can also host what's called a mega open house, where you can have people come into this house. It'll give you exposure to a lot of different buyers and hopefully someone that'll want to buy this house. You can use it as a way to reach new buyers. Maybe you'll find a bunch of people that don't want to buy this house, but yeah, they could buy something else. Listers also have more control over the transaction because everybody's after the house. And so you as the listing agent, you get to kind of set the tone on certain things. You like you might have a buyer saying, well, my buyer needs to be there at 1:00. And you're like, well, no, he can't be there at 1:00. Seller, they don't want that. So you can't be there at 1:00. You got to make another time. It gives you control. You can put your seller in a position to have multiple offers on this property. Because if they will follow your advice and let you market it or put it on the market at a price that's competitive and market it, you could have multiple people coming in here trying to buy the same house, and that means your seller has a chance of getting a better price. You can move your sellers out while helping buyers move in, and everybody's happy. Nothing's better. Seller's got his money, he's gone. Buyer's got the house and the keys, they're going in, and you're in the middle smiling. So, if you see that moving in this direction might be the way you want to go, then you need to develop a system. So, we're going to talk about a few things here to help put it in place. First of all, you got to set a listing goal, and a good goal is to strive to list a property every week. Now, will you do that? Most agents won't. But if you're able to do that, and if you're able to have it listed at the right price, this means that you can get to a point in your career where you'll have regular closings. And in real estate, regular closings is just give me some closings every month. Don't let me go 2, 3, 4 months with no closings. That's not regular. Let me have closings every month. Don't take overpriced listings. The reason you don't want to take overpriced listings is that buyers will not pay more for a house when they can pay less. So you want to make sure that the pricing is competitive and you use your comps, your CMA, to justify the price you believe the house should be. Now, if you've done your job right, the seller should be at this point when you're talking price, they should be following after your suggestions because they have acknowledged at this time that you're the expert and you know what you're talking about. Sometimes you have to give a concession, but don't take a listing that is at a price that you know is not good, because if you do that, there's a good possibility that the house will not sell and then you will be to blame. You have to master the listing presentation. This is your bread and butter. So you would have an ability to look at the listing presentation that I use, but you have to put together a presentation so that when you're sitting in the house with the seller, you can walk them through this process and answer their questions along the way. The listing presentation must be broad enough and generic enough to encompass any house, and yet you're going to make it specific to their house. You have to master it. So you spend time putting it together, and then you study it and you practice saying it. You practice walking through it. There's no substitution for this, because if your listing presentation will make or break you as a lister. If your presentation is bad, people will not list with you. If it's too long, people will not list with you. If it doesn't have the information they're looking for, people will not list with you. So it must be colorful, and it must be informative, and it must convey what you're trying to do. You have to master the marketing plan to share with sellers. Because even after you talk to them about their property and you talk to them about working with us, you got to outline what that plan is going to look like. These are some of the things that we would do. Now, don't make promises you cannot keep. I personally do not commit to open houses. Those are dependent upon if they're necessary. But I don't go in there and say we're going to have an open house, because usually you give an open house if it's one of two reasons. If it's not selling, you might try an open house to get some activity. Or if it's a really, really hot property in a really, really nice neighborhood, you do an open house to get multiple offers. So, but you don't commit to that. So you only tell them what you will do, and whatever you tell them you will do it. You have to also focus on marketing online. You got to get properties out there, because that's where people are looking for them. We got to work the neighborhood of every listing that we get. So once you have a listing on this block, you need to work that whole block. You got to come back there during some time, maybe bring some flyers. You got to try to reach every seller on the block. You got to work the community. Listings become a way. It gives you a foothold into a community, and you want to use that to be able to get more listings. Hi, my name is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group. We just listed the house at 123 Main Street, and I'm coming to let you know that it's available for sale. Maybe you know somebody, have friends or family that you want to be neighbors. Here's my information. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. You've got to advertise listings extensively. You put up the for sale sign, yes. You put it in the MLS, yes. You put it in social media, yes. And you have to continually market it. You do not just put it out there and think that it's going to sell. You have to be aggressive in your marketing. It's kind of like when you're sitting and watching TV and you see commercials. Do you notice how often they play the same commercials over and over again? That's aggressive marketing. They know you've seen it before. They want you to see it again. And then the last thing when it comes to dealing with listings is it allows you to ask for referrals. You can see if the seller has anybody else in the family that wants to sell. You can see if the seller has other properties that they may want to sell. It gives you a base to work from. So again, working with sellers is a great way to build a lasting career in real estate. And if you master the sales process, then you'll be able to become a great lister.